Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Javier with The Real Javier Novo, a channel, a platform, and a modality where we apply the principles of philosophy, spirituality, mysticism, and business to rapid lifestyle transformation. And, ladies and gentlemen, I was reviewing my YouTube comments, and for whatever reason, sometimes on the YouTube app, I do not get alert for these comments. And I did get a question in a video, a groundbreaking video that I made about 2 weeks ago. The video is entitled Taking Back Your Power, I Initiate You into This Mystery. And basically that video was talking about getting into the knowing and remembering who you are and knowing who you are. And we got a question from a subscriber, and we're going to answer this question. I love getting questions from our subscribers. You can always ask me a question in the comments. You can always email me. You can always do it through our Facebook group. There are many ways to ask us questions, and it allows us to really give an applied and practical application of these principles. So I thank the listener for her question. But first, ladies and gentlemen, if you've not subscribed to the channel, please take a moment to hit the subscribe button, because you'll get alerts for all of our videos that we release as we release them, and you will help us to get the algorithm in our favor to get this message out to as many people as possible, because it is a message whose time has come. So let's jump right into this, ladies and gentlemen. The question is from Nepal, a country that has a great spiritual tradition in itself. I believe that's where the Buddha was from. And the questioner is asking me, "Hi Javier, I wanted to let you know that I've been doing my own research on LOA, that's Law of Attraction, and what the name that I prefer is Law of Assumption. But these modalities are basically 2 points of view of the same principles, an application of the same principles, and we use that term pretty interchangeably. So I think LOA could mean Law of Attraction or Law of Assumption. So I've been doing my own research on LOA since the last 2 years. Things seem to manifest once in a while, but I haven't been able to fully create my own reality and live 100% in the present." And that right there indicates this sort of visitational mentality. We talked about before where there are two types of mentalities in these spiritual modalities here. One of them is a visitational mentality, and that's the idea that I have to go and I have to apply the principles and I manifest things, and then when they come, I'm grateful and happy, and when they don't come, then I see it as sort of a failure. And then there's a habitational modality, and that's in fact another wording for what we talked about in that video. And that is, I'm not even looking at the outer except just a few times just to have fun and to enjoy what's coming to me, but I'm living most of my time in that realization, in that knowing that I am it, and I don't really need to have anything happen on the outer except for the experience that I'm ready for. And we'll talk about this more as well. Because your desire, of course, when you manifest a desire, that desire is not stagnant, and you're also not going to you're not going to be able to perceive with your senses the entirety of that desire as if there were a desire separate from everything else anyway, but rather you're going to get pieces of that desire that you're ready for. I hope you follow me. Abraham Hicks illustrates this very aptly when she says that we want to eat, right? But you don't want all the food that you're going to eat for the rest of your life right now, because that would be a very messy situation. What you want is that food to manifest exactly at the times you need it and the times you want it. This is how we need to approach our manifesting. So just keeping that in mind. We'll explain that more. Also, you're always fully creating your own reality. She says, I haven't been able to fully create my own reality. You're always fully creating your own reality. The only difference here is, are you creating it consciously, or are you creating it reactionally or by default? Are you applying these principles deliberately, or are you just taking what comes? Both are okay, and both are part of who we are as creators. So in this channel, we're trying to do it more deliberately. So I'd watched this video of yours a couple of days back, and I've been revisiting this video every day since then. I must say, in all my research the last 2 years on this topic, this video of yours has made the most sense to me. That's because it came from inspiration, and thank you so much for the kind words about the video. It comes from inspiration. Most of these videos, some of these videos I script and I structure beforehand, especially the ones where we're going into the specifics, the ones that are coming up this week about rapid lifestyle transformation. Many of them I will script. But a lot of these videos, especially that video and a video like this where I'm answering the question, these are intentionally unscripted. And I try to get into a state of neutral so that I can basically receive the answers. Because these topics are best when they're not preconceived and when the answers are received. So that's what we try to do here. And that's why that video appealed to so many people. So I couldn't stop smiling throughout the video, and I could in fact snap in the present moment right there and then. And you can always do it. Remember, no matter how you're feeling, you can always snap into the present moment and drop into the present moment. With the condition being that you can't be doing it with an ulterior motive, because if you do it with an ulterior motive, you snap out of it. So, as John Kabat-Zinn said, the great pioneer in mindfulness in the United States, who developed mindfulness-based stress relief, I believe, in the medical field, he said, get into mindfulness, but the condition is it doesn't get better. And when you accept that it doesn't get better and you're not doing it to try to make anything happen, then the paradox is that immediately changes everything, and everything that you want happens. So always you can snap into presence. Is a choice, ladies and gentlemen. It's not something that's conditioned upon how you feel. It's not something conditioned upon what's going on right now. It's not something conditioned upon how well you're creating. That's what we're trying to teach here. There are no conditions because, as Seth said, the only rule is you make the rules. And you have to accept that. You are the only authority. As the Buddha said, submit only to the light of your own authority. That's it. Don't even take anything that I say. The Buddha said, submit to your own inner authority. So, thank you for sharing this beautiful and insightful video, and thank you for the continued support. But I do have a major question for you, she said. I am soon going to be 22 years old. Here we get to the meat of the question. I'm from Nepal. I'm currently pursuing my undergraduate degree from an American university. From a very young age, as far as I can remember, I have a very young age, and she's 22 here. God bless her. So, she's very young. I have always felt positively and strongly about myself. And that's great. And that comes from a good conditioning. That comes from you're coming in with these desires. And a lot of times you come in with a strong proclivity towards this because in your past manifestations, you have the desire to come in with this very strongly. For a lot of us, we've had to work at it, but it's great that you, even at this young age that you are, because I know that when I was 22, I was nowhere near having a deliberate control over this modality. And here you are, having deliberate control over it. Congratulations to you for that. So, I've always felt positively and strongly about myself. I've always been a very ambitious and future-oriented person. And ambition is good so long as you don't take it too seriously. When you start taking it too seriously, it can become a curse. So, because, as we know, every craving will eventually yield its opposite. That's why we teach you to reduce importance here in this channel. And in reality transurfing, a lot of these modalities teach you to reduce importance. Because ambition can have two meanings. Just as with every word in language, it comes into duality, so it has at least two meanings. The first meaning can be a focus. The focus on getting what you want and not worrying about the outer conditions. This is the definition of what we teach in this course. Another ambition is giving it too much importance and being stuck in a belief that you have to do it to prove something, and then getting yourself all wonky in your vibration, then having to work extra hard to get it, and you still will get it because of your focus. But had you simply surrendered and let go, you could have gotten to it a lot easier and had a lot more fun along the way, which after all is what it's all about, is it not? So, she says, I've studied a great deal of self-help, philosophy and spirituality to make myself better in every possible way. And that's a great thing. I've studied also, probably since I was 17, I started studying a lot of different self-help and so on and so forth, philosophy, spirituality, and even before that, probably from when I was 12 years old, I was studying spirituality, or even younger than that. And that's a beautiful modality to have, because you have a very strong base, a very strong foundation, and you're going to do great things, because it's going to be so easy for you to get into this. Your mind is still eminently pliable and malleable. Like Joe Dispenza and the other neuroscientists say that when you're 35, your modality, your way of living, your habits, and your personality is basically set unless you go and short circuit the program, which is what we teach you how to do. And of course, you don't have to do that, because once you know yourself, then that program will be automatically short circuited. But when you're this age, 22, you don't even have to do much work at it. All you have to do is make the very simple decision to be it, and it will come easier than you can imagine. It's very awesome to have discovered this at this age. So, and I've studied, I want to make myself better in every possible way. As you talk about the knowing in some of your videos, I strongly feel that knowing for myself. I know that I will be very successful, famous, and wealthy person. I want to fine-tune this, because you're so advanced that we can skip the preliminary stuff, and I can help you start fine-tuning this. I know what you mean when you say I will be famous and rich. But as Neville Goddard said, putting that in future tense, you can do that with your conversations with the world and with people who don't understand this material. That's fine, because if you say I am, they're going to say, well, I don't see it. Are you crazy? But within our community and talking with me and so on and so forth and on this channel, I'd rather us say it like it is. I want you to say, and especially I don't really mind what you say, I want you to know and feel within that I am a very successful, famous, and wealthy person. And then get to work on filling in the details of what that feels and looks like, and don't even try to change the outer to acquiesce to that, because the outer is going to acquiesce, just like when you plant a seed, the outer is eventually going to acquiesce. But I want you to claim that now, if nothing else to yourself. I want you to say, I am wealthy, I am successful, and I am famous. You're not waiting. And in fact, it's this will be and waiting, as Neville Goddard said, and as Vadim Zeland says in Reality Transurfing. Okay, well, if you will be, then you're now on a film roll where I will be. And then that's just going to be out of reach. So I would encourage you to start claiming it and say, I am that. Just a little fine-tuning, little coaching here. So I am so very confident about it, and I inherently know it. And that's good. It's almost as if I always known it since my childhood and my teenage days. So this is a knowing that you are it, and perhaps what you mean by I will be is that you will be on the physical, but you know you already have it. In that case, that is exactly the sweet spot that you want to be in. You need do nothing else but be in that sweet spot. Be it, claim it, appropriate it. So it's a very beautiful thing. I had there's a friend of mine who also studied these materials at a very young age, and he has two daughters, two very intelligent. I think they're about 17, 18. And they just excel. He's an immigrant, and I think he didn't go have any higher education. But they're excelling in school. They're getting all kinds of scholarships. And I said, what's the secret to raising such vibrant, intelligent children? He said, when they were babies, I would go and just whisper into their ear that you are successful. You are beautiful. You can achieve anything you want. You are achieving anything you want. You are the divine. He would whisper this into their ears. And lo and behold, because when you're below 7, this is great for the parents out there who want to learn how to do this. When they're below 7, they're in theta waves and alpha waves. They will believe anything you tell them. That's why it's so destructive when parents tell children no and that they can't. Because then, especially at that young age, because then they train them, unless they get out of it, to have that mentality. So it's great that you've had that mentality since very young, since your childhood. But now my problem is, and here's the problem. Here's where it starts to get wonky, because remember, there is no problem. What does problem mean? Problema, I think, is from the Latin. It means something that's thrown at you, right? But the problem, in the sense of a negative connotation, it can only exist in this false sense of duality. In reality, when something's thrown at you, you just catch it, you react, and you do what's necessary, you do what's appropriate at the time, and you live with no problems. There's no problem. And I know that the great Lester Levinson said that he's a great spiritual teacher from the United States. And he said that the moment that you ask a question, actually, you're already stepping out of your divinity. And that's fine if it feels fun to have problems and solve problems. I do it for my day job all the time. I love solving problems. But metaphysically, you must know that there is no problem. And when you're declaring a problem, you're actually creating that, setting that up for yourself. So I want us to reframe the question. But anyway, she says, the problem is I don't know what I should do for my career. What path should I take in order to reach my success, which I know it exists? I feel so lost and under crisis, I have nothing figured out for myself. There's a very huge underlying presupposition in this question. And it goes back to the prison grid and the very stupid way that we educate our youth in these societies. And it's not compatible with the modern world because, see, the pressure that this young lady's feeling, the pressure that you're feeling, stems in a large part from the fact that the education system is set up to where you need to figure out exactly what you want to do for the rest of your life when you're about 16 or 17 years old. And that's so ridiculous. It wasn't even applicable in my father's and grandfather's time when you had the same career and stayed with the same company for 30 years, because anyone who was successful didn't do that. Rather, they went out and started their own thing and so on. But the people who wanted to be mediocre, they would stay with the same company for 30 years. But now that's not even possible, right? Things are changing so much. We have quote-unquote AI and automation. You're not going to be able to stick with the same career in the same company for even more than 5 years. 5 years is a stretch. So to ask our children to have everything figured out when they're 17 years old, to know what you want to do, is imbecilic. It's stupid. So what I want you to do, young lady, is stop even thinking in those terms. Perhaps your society tells you that you must do that to be successful. But what I want you to start thinking about is, what are my interests? And then pursue those interests. And don't worry about success or career or remuneration. Even career, think about what that word means. Career comes from a wheel, like a hamster wheel. So if you want to be in a hamster wheel, you're not even going to be able to do that because your career's not going to last very long if you expect to work for somebody. Remember, and we talked about this in our early videos, you don't have to work for your money. I don't know if you come from a wealthy family or your family is giving you something or not. It doesn't matter. Because you can set up in your mind that I want an income of such and such. Let's say you start small. Let's say I want an income of $2,000 a month with complete freedom over my schedule, not having to do anything to earn it. And by getting into that state immediately, you will be there and you don't have to pursue a career or a field to have that income. Now, that's not saying that your income won't come from a field or a business, because it most probably will. But you'll be led there through inspiration, not through force. You see, by looking at it as a problem and saying, I must solve it, must figure it out, you're setting yourself up for resistance and blockages right there. So I'd recommend changing it now when the changing is easy, and change that question. Say, you know what? I have a multitude of interests before me and a multitude of options before me. Let me start playing in the playground of that and forget the whole notion that I have to choose right now what I'm going to do. Oh, there's going to be a lot for me to do, and it's going to be inspired, and it's going to be inspired such that I don't have to decide, because it'll be such a strong pull that I'll be forced to go there by the joy of it and by the interest of it. I want you to contemplate over that. I know it's not going to be good enough for some of you, but this is the way to do it, ladies and gentlemen. So, I have nothing figured out for myself. You don't have to figure it out. The universe, the God within you, the divinity, knows everything. It is guiding you step by step. All you have to do is know that you are it, appropriate it, and live in the end. You might not know what the end is you want or the success you want. That's fine too. Start journaling about what you want in the end. And I can recommend at least one exercise for this, probably two. The first exercise is you sit down and you journal your ideal day from morning to evening. What does your ideal day look like? What do you do when you wake up in the morning? What kind of work do you do? How many hours do you work? It doesn't have to be something specific about the work. It can be something like, I talk to people, I create art, I write, I deal with people. But get these juices flowing, and eventually what will happen through the journaling is you'll figure out what the end is of your ideal scene. Right now, we're not trying to figure out how to get there at all. You're trying to figure what it is you want, what it looks like, and why you want it. And then what we're going to be able to do is set up your ideal scene and then be able to get into the state of that. Once you're in the state, so much is going to be inspired to you. And keep watching the videos, especially this week, because we're going to be going into this topic of how to decide what you want, and then how you figure out step by step how to get there by relying on your intuition, by relying on the divinity within. So, don't try to figure it out. Any trying or any effort is counterproductive. It can be fun and you can do it, and it'll just launch other rockets of desire and make your desire bigger, and you'll be able to specify your desire more. For example, if you're working hard to figure out what you want, you're going to run into a lot of what you don't want, and that automatically is going to clarify more what you want. So it's all good, And you can follow any path. You can follow the path of hard work and struggle. You can mix between the two paths. But what we recommend in our channel, in our modality, is to use your divinity and use your connection to harness and leverage the powers of the universe so that you can get there through the path of least effort and do what you came to do. So, I have nothing figured out for myself. I know people my age or older go through this crisis of not knowing what step to take. I've been a jack of all trades and a master of none. What's wrong with that? You've been sifting and sorting. You don't need to be a quote-unquote master. That's already setting something up that maybe is not your desire in order to show off to other people. For example, why would you want to be a master? I want you to apply the question that we talked about 2 videos ago. Would I do this if I couldn't tell anybody else about it? Because remember, you're one with everything. And you can have whatever you want. Even the desires that are not yours, but it's just going to be more space and more time for the universe to get you there because of your blockages. But what's much easier is to focus on the essence of the desire you want and then to get into that state. It might be being a master, or it might be just enjoying life and doing things that you want to do. You have to find that balance. But what I'm telling you is don't pressure yourself. You don't have to be a quote-unquote master. Everything that you desire is already yours, and it will show itself to you when you put your umbrella down. So, and this umbrella of having to do it in crisis and so on and so forth, I want you to reframe that to, I'm in a place of confusion because I've been mixing it up so much. Now let me get to clarity. And I could get to clarity by a decision, by knowing it, by getting into the now. And when you're in the now, I ask you, is there any confusion? Is there anything not now? Now. Be a master of the now. And you might think that I'm just telling you to be lazy and to not do anything. I'm not telling you that at all. Because once you get this foundation, once you click into place and click into your knowing and click into presence, you're going to be inspired to take more action than you think possible right now. You're going to be so excited that you're going to wake up in the middle of the night and take action and plan and put things together. Because you're not going to have any blockages. Because you're going to be focusing on your power. But first, just for a little while, I'd say give it about a week. Don't lift a finger. And know that you have it, and whenever the thought of a problem comes up or the thought that I have to figure it out, just say, not right now, I'm going to think about something else, and think about something else that you enjoy. I promise you within a few days you're going to be inspired to action. And with some people, this happened to the great Trevor Blake, a whole blueprint for a whole business or a whole future path of study just came to him in an instant when he let go struggling and just got into the now and was walking around an airport, and a whole blueprint came to him. That's when the magic happens. And this is not only law of assumption, this is science. And I recommend you read the book A Mind for Numbers. It's a great book. It's called A Mind for Numbers. And this book basically tells you how to practice this modality in relation to math and science and so on and so forth, from scientific and experiential means. You don't have to take my word for this. This is all over the top performers. See, the top performers know all this. They're not trying to figure it out. The top performers in academia, in business, and in sport are not trying to struggle to have a problem or to figure it out. No, they're in flow. They're resting, and they're making the priority get into flow, and then what you want finds you. I promise it works if you'll just give it a try. So, I'm interested in a lot of subjects and I have a wide range of interests, but I'm so unsure about the specific plan or route to take next. You don't need to take it because, as Neville Goddard said, the plan and the seed, or the plan and the desire, is included in the desire. And remember, if you allow it, the best plan and the best program to your desire will unfold for you. And by the way, that might include writing down a plan. But it's got to feel good while you're doing it. It's got to feel inspired. If it doesn't feel inspired, don't try to plan. If you're coming from a place of I have to make a plan so that I can get to this, don't do it. Only do it if it feels inspired. Otherwise, allow the universe to plan for you, and you're going to start seeing serendipities. You're going to start seeing steps unfold to you and things come to you. This is the way it works. The plan is included in the desire. Even as I said in a past video, the plan is a desire in itself. So, soon I will be a college graduate, but with no plans ahead whatsoever. That's great. You're in the unknown now. Bask in the unknown. As Joe Dispenza said, in order to enter into new possibilities in the quantum, you have to enter into the unknown. So, under a crisis, you're not in a crisis. We already established that. And under a situation where one does not know what to manifest for themselves, you don't have to worry about that because the universe is going to tell you step by step. I was in this place too in my 20s. I thought, I don't even really know what I want to manifest. The universe is going to show that to you quickly if you will take a general stance. I think 3 videos we talked about going general. I'd encourage you to watch that video. You wake up and meditate. You tell the universe, I just want you to show me beautiful things today. Show me ease. Show me how much you love me. And show me things to appreciate. And I promise you, within a few days to a few weeks, those specific desires will start rushing through you. And then you can start applying these modalities to that. But first, go general. What does one manifest? How can we seek clarity in this clutter? I've just told you, go to the clarity, know that you're in the clarity, and when the clutter comes, say, bring it on, and love the negative emotion that comes to that, and observe it, and it will go away very quickly, and you will arise into who you really are, which is your divinity. It's all just about that, ladies and gentlemen. It's all about that. About knowing that you are it, feeling every emotion fully, appreciating it, and then allowing the universe to orchestrate for you everything it is that you want. You're in a beautiful situation because you're in a general situation, and you're going to start seeing movement in that once you simply start surrendering and stop the struggle. That's my advice to you. Stop the struggle. I do not have a solid plan, and so on and so forth. I want to live a luxurious life, be famous, have a beautiful, happy, and wealthy family, be able to afford luxury, and live a comfortable, elaborate life. That right there is what you want. You said, I don't know what to manifest. There it is. Now, journal. This is your work. I want you to sit down and say, okay, where do I want to travel to? What are the sights and scenes that I want to see? Pick a place, right? I want you to journal about what is a beautiful, happy, and wealthy life. How much money do I want? How much do the things that I want cost? What kind of house do I want? Look at them on the internet. In fact, it's interesting that you mentioned this because we're going to be going into videos in the next few days about how to find a beautiful place to live that suits your desires, that suits your personality and your style. I want to live a comfortable, elaborate life. Journal it. So that's my advice to you. Sit down and commune with yourself. Converse with yourself. Never approach it from negative emotion and never approach it as a problem. There is no problem because you already are everything that you want. You came down from divinity to multiplicity to have this beautiful journey, this beautiful physical experience, and in doing that, come to know your power again and come to unite again with the divine. We're all on that journey. And it is a beautiful unfolding. So just let it unfold. Stop thinking that you have to figure it out. You don't. And before you know it, within a few months, you're going to start taking off in all of these areas of your life. So thanks for the question. Keep watching our videos because I'm going to be addressing in more detail every single point that we talked about in this video. Of course, I do coaching calls. Anyone who wants personal guidance in this to get it done faster through the help of someone who's made many mistakes and also has achieved much through this modality, I will put my email in the description. Please subscribe and like to our channel. Thanks for sharing the videos. Thanks for commenting on the videos. Thanks for liking. And most of all, thanks for joining me for this exciting journey that I hope we will be undertaking for months and years to come. So I will be coming back tomorrow with more specific videos on rapid lifestyle transformation. Until very soon, with great love and appreciation, this is Javier. I'll see you soon.